Thanks so much, all of you, for joining us today. This type of workshops are part of our B2B Academy initiative. For those of you who didn't attend any of our boot camps before, just a few information about what B2B Academy is. This is NNC's training initiative that we launched last year, somehow at the request of professionals in our network to kind of open up our trainings that we were doing previously in a more custom manner for our clients. Now, the B2B Prospecting Academy is the first in the series, and it was actually inspired by a bootcamp that Dan Tyre here used to hold at Hubspot. And we got a lot of requests from the previous attendees to actually hold topic-based workshops. And one of the subjects in the top was obviously HubSpot. I know many of you here already use HubSpot. You either have the free version or a paid one. And you want to learn more about how specifically you can get the most out of it. So we have some very special guests from HubSpot, but before I pass them the mic and let them introduce themselves and maybe share some thoughts, I want to share something with all of you, and that is why we love HubSpot. And besides the fact that it is, great technology that produces great results and at the same time is so intuitive and easy to use, there is another thing that counts, so much. And that thing is what I personally call the HubSpot spirit. And we feel it in this amazing community that was built around HubSpot. And that includes HubSpot customers, employees, and partners like us. And this is a spirit that values learning, continuous development, and support for each other. And this is why we are all here. Now, with this being said, I will pass the mic to the amazing Dan Tyre. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan is a director at HubSpot. He's a member of the initial team that started HubSpot back in 2007, a leader in the inbound ecosystem. So Dan, why don't you share with us, related to the topic today, what is your advice for getting the most out of HubSpot?
Okay. First of all, thank you for your kind words. Can you call my children and tell them all that great stuff? Because they certainly don't believe me. And I'm a huge fan of Oana and Laura Donna and Daniel Bird, right, who was so nice as a HubSpot inbound growth specialist to help us understand and deliver some of this information. And I've been a HubSpotter for 14 years. Oh, my goodness. I know I sound like your grandfather. Right. But in the very early days of 2007, no one understood what inbound was. In 2021, inbound wins, and we know it. Right. This is one of the first times in history where you could leverage technology as a competitive advantage. Right. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the ways that the HubSpot CRM and the HubSpot free starter and marketing products can really help. So put in the Zoom group chat if you want to generate more business, if you want to grow. Yes, grow, no grow. Oh my goodness, Content Bacon from Florida. Daniel, nice to see you. Yes, grow. I know, everybody, come on, don't be checking your Facebook while I'm talking. Yes, grow, no grow. I want to see everybody. Make sure you're sending it to everybody, not just me. Most people do. Some people, there we go, Brad, 1,000 times yes. You all want to grow. Not everybody. Rocket ship. Oh my goodness, yes, for sure. There we go. Always grow. Roar. Laura Donna, do your lion claws. Right? I know. See that? Oh, unscripted. Boom. Right? Okay. Most companies want to grow. Right? Why do you want to grow? You feel in most situations that if you are not growing, right, the company is a little bit at risk, right? You're not able to generate additional business, right? And so I would say globally, virtually every company that we talk to talks about growing. To do that, right, you quickly move beyond personal productivity tools, right, to have to define a process. And Oana, what is a process? If I ask you, like, give me an example of a process.
Sales,
Okay, a
prospecting.
sales process is great. A marketing process, an onboarding process, a customer retention process. And as you're growing, why are processes? I'll offer this to everybody, not just Oana. Why is a process so important? Daniel Bird, why is a process? You use processes all the time. Why is it so important?
Having a process is so important so you can keep track of not only your day-to-day, but making sure that everything is synced throughout, whether it be work, whether it be your personal life. Just having a process in place to keep you on track to hit goals is ultimately a huge part of growth, both personal and professional.
Yeah, 100%. First of all, if you're not sure what to do, following a process will help you learn. Number two is you're starting to like find your way in a process. You can make sure you stay in the swim lane. Number three, Daniel in the Slack channel says it gives you control. It allows you to track. Oh, baby, data, right, has changed everything. And in the SaaS revolution, right, the software as a service revolution, I just got pinged in a public presentation. People say, I don't know all your acronyms. So if I say an acronym like that you don't understand, just put it in the chat panel. SaaS, software as a service, has changed everything, right? And helped us define the process. Okay, Alex says consistency is key, especially for your customer. We're going to get to customer experience, right? But the process that I want to talk a little bit about is the sales process, right? And put it in the Zoom group chat. Is that all right, Oana? Can I talk a little bit about the sales process?
Yes, please.
Okay. Put in the Zoom group chat if you have a good sales process. Yes, sales process, no sales process, right? And I know, Daniel Bird, you have a great sales process in the way you reach out and understand. Ooh, yes, I know. Monica, very good. So says Loredana. Yep. A lot of okay-ish, says Oana. Oh my goodness. Yep, that's honest. Everybody else, come on. There are 30 people on this call. I want to hear from everybody. Quick, not great, says Brad. All right. Brad, put in a little bit more if you're willing to share. Good, but not great. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit about the sales process and some of the things that are important, right, to ensure that you have a good sales process. But before that, like strategically, why is a good sales process important? Good, but why stick to it, says Daniel Ricardo. Yeah, I know. All right, got to help. I'm going to give you 10 ways to start and identify a good sales process. Good, but I want it to be great. That's not great. Somewhat new to B2B prospecting, struggling to get people to stick to process and be organized. All right, Brett, that's what the technology is all about. What Daniel is going to show you, he's going to show you a CRM that has a couple of different attributes, right? And I'll touch on those attributes in just a little bit, but I want to talk a little bit about like what I've learned as like setting up sales processes for kind of a for hundreds of companies. So put in the Zoom group chat if you like talking to people. Yes, talking to people, no talking to people. We usually have a few, all right, there, look, Oana, of course, Daniel Ricardo. Any introverts? Loredana loves talking to people. Yes, oh my goodness. Okay, put in the Zoom group chat, especially the NNC team on Fridays. That's funny. What are you guys, funnier on Friday? Okay, put in the Zoom group chat if you like helping people. Lots of people like to talk, right? Now, do you like to help? Daniel Ricardo, of course, yes. Who else? Yes, Beam Healthcare. Oh no, love helping people, right? All right, very, very good. And most people do. It's part of your job or your company, or and doing good job making clients happy. And most people are on board with this until they have to pick up the phone, right? And why is the phone screw up everything? Why is the phone such a deterrent to help other people, right? Put in the Zoom group chat, right? Because as soon as I say, no, you got to pick up the phone, people are like, why? I'm like, well, you want the business, right? They're like, yeah, but like they'll come to our website, they'll drop their contact information, then they'll drop another form, then they'll ask for me to call. I'm like, yeah, but that takes 13 years, right? You have to pick up the phone and call. Okay, that's my goal in life, says Monica. Great. Basta Locheka says, yes, I love helping people. Fear of rejection, it's interrupting their day. I read a stat that executives receive 20 calls and make the difference. Yeah. I got another stat, Daniel, that I'll drop you. But it's hard to to understand. It's a little bit impersonal when you use the phone, but we're going to give you some techniques to help that. It's sometimes hard to read the response with just voice, right? Because you can't see their face. You don't know. Now I know Oana and Loredana are doing lion claws and laughing at my jokes. If I couldn't see that, I'd be like, okay, maybe I'm insulting them. I don't really know. Right? It can be annoying to some people, and it's the last thing you want to do when you're trying to earn somebody's business is to be annoying. So you have to find a better way. And the best way is to have your prospects find you, initiate the contact. That's inbound, right? You can learn that from Oana and Loredana. The second best way is to have a very professional connection experience, right? And that is make somebody smile and adding value from the get-go. So it's actual skills, and that's what Oana teaches in her bootcamp, the lion skills, and we call this connection. And it's sometimes referred to as prospecting or pipeline generation bootcamp. And pipeline generation or prospecting, it's a real thing. It's skills, it's process, it's practice. And the stat, Daniel, that I saw is that it's kind of interesting. 75% of executives want you to call them, right? They want you to pick up the phone. Right? Because they may not answer the first time, and we'll talk a little bit about that, right? But they prefer the conversation to understand who they're talking to is the best way to gather information. And this is HubSpot research that I'm referencing. All right, so we call this process connection or prospecting or pipeline generation bootcamp, and it's part of the inbound sales process. And once I finish talking, I'm going to drop. You guys like free stuff? People on this webinar like free stuff? Put yes, free stuff, no free stuff in the chat pane, right? Look at Alex smiling all the time. Monica, oh, look at that. You guys, look at that. Yes, living the free life, Daniel. We want it all free. Oh, baby. Okay, I'm going to give you some good free stuff. I'm going to give you statistics, marketing statistics. I'm going to give you the inbound sales process from the HubSpot Academy. One of the projects I'm doing now is working with HubSpot Academy to help understand, and there's a couple of great lessons that we could offer to you. It's not quite as good as the bootcamp because you don't get the interaction, the adjustment, the way in which you all learn together. Look at that. Content Bacon saying, yes, please, free stuff. All right, I'm going to give it to you. That's what I like. Oh, by the way, I also put my LinkedIn in the chat pane. If you want to connect with me, I'm happy to do it. All right, so this connection process changed a lot in the last few years. When I taught Loredana and Oana, right, it was a little bit different. There was a little bit different cadence and adjustments that we've made. Number two, it's a learned skill. Most everybody can do it, even if you're introvert. In fact, women and introverts make better connect call people than people like have the big energy. Is anybody like bothered by my big energy? Would anybody like does it sound like I'm yelling at you? Some people, they're like, no. What are you doing? And I'll know immediately when I pick up the phone because they'll sound a little bit more low key. They'll sound a little bit more hesitant. Bothered by you, never. All right, you got to call my kids as well. All right, it's the most difficult part of the sales process. The reason I picked, when we're talking about process, reason I picked it is because it's what people most avoid. So I'm going to give you 10 tips of what you need to do to master the sales process. It takes a little bit of time and effort. It's hard to do exclusively through email, right? Lots of times I'll talk to people and say, I'll just send them an email. I'm like, all right, have you ever closed a deal just through email? And you may have negotiated a deal and or gotten the final details. But Daniel will tell you it's very, very hard. Daniel, you've ever signed up a HubSpot customer without talking to him?
Never.
Okay. Do you think it's possible?
It is. It's possible to sign them up because they have the ability to go on and purchase our product touchlessly.
Yeah.
But with regards to their experience, I think the customers that have the better experience, they get the most out of HubSpot, are ones that actually communicate with us, via phone.
Yeah, that's a really good answer. There is certain transactions that will take place without talking to folks, but that's people who are doing a lot of research and understanding. It's not sending them an email, right? And is anybody on this presentation need more email? Put in the chat pane if you say, I need more email, right? Like, look at Alex. He's rolling his eyes. He's like, oh my goodness. No one need, I know. Ona's laughing at me. Daniel's laughing at me. They need to feel the HubSpot spirit on the phone. That's part of it, but they need to know a few things. Number one, they need to know who you are. right? And if you're just an email, you look like everybody else. But as soon as Oana calls and uses that great voice of hers, as soon as Loredana picks up the phone and says, as a senior executive of the company, I want to have a conversation with you, it's different. Half my emails go to the ignore folder. I need more relevant emails. Now, emails are important, but I totally agree, right? And I want to understand a little bit about what Daniel's all about. I want to understand how it works. I want to understand. And so here are 10 tips to make sure that your sales process works good. Number one, have a plan. All right. So what that means is that you're going to understand exactly, like not exactly, but you're going to understand the calls that you're going to make and how many of those calls are going to turn into connect calls, right? Because when you pick up the phone as an attempt, right? Sometimes you have to call with a cadence multiple times to get the right person, right? I'm gonna give you that statistic in a second, right? But you wanna say, okay, over the next 2 months, I wanna generate 1, 2, or 3 customers, right? It's up to you, you make your own goals, but the way we solve problems in 2021 is we start with the goals and work backwards, right? And that's an important component of doing it. The next thing you want to do is that you want to do a reverse funnel analysis to get, let's say you want 2 customers in the next 60 days. That means you have to have 3 proposals. To get 3 proposals, that means you have to have 5 opportunities. To have 5 opportunities, that means you have to have 10 conversations. So your goal over the next 60 days is to have 10 conversations with folks who can, who are interested in growing, right? And so you define your customers and then work it back through the process. Number 2, you put 2 or 3 hours in your calendar to guard that time. You have to put new business development. In fact, you should do it right now. Go to your calendar right now. And have you already taught that, Oana? Does everybody on the workshop already have prospecting in their calendar?
Not yet, but they will soon.
Okay, put it in right now, right? If you're serious about growing, right, you've got to spend the time and effort. If it doesn't make it in my calendar, forget about it, right? The only reason I'm here is because Oana was nice enough to send me the link, right? It's 6 o'clock in the morning, for crying out loud. There's no way I would have known to attend unless Oana was nice enough to put it in my calendar. And defend the calendar, says Alex. Oh my goodness, exactly. I know Daniel C does, he's the hunter. That's very, very good, very, very important, right? And there's a variety of different things you're gonna do in that hour, but that's the best way to be intentional about what you need. Then get a quiet room. Put it in the Zoom group chat if you have a quiet room with good internet access. I'm actually in the basement because I'm a little loud and my wife thinks I'm annoying, but you need good internet access. You need a place where you can concentrate, right? Put in the Zoom group chat if you have a place to call that's like private, that allows you to like learn a skill. Okay, you can do it in the loo if you want, Daniel. That's pretty funny. Don't be funnier than I am. That doesn't make me happy, right? But that's a good joke. And yes, but annoying lighting behind me. Okay, lighting is important. Don't work where you sleep either. Okay, Daniel Bird, lesson number 1 of remote work. Okay, the guy who's sitting on his bed with the light behind, I hear you, I know. But everybody put in the Zoom group chat if you have a place you can call. Right? Sometimes it is, you just go find someplace, right? But you have to have a place to focus. You have to have a place that's quiet. Periodically, when we were working from offices in Hubspot, people would say, it's so like loud there. Daniel knows what I'm talking about. They'll be like, where are you, like in a train station? I'm like, no, it's just kind of loud in here. They're like, I can't hear what you're saying. I'm like, okay, let me go find another place. That's important, both for your concentration as well as people understanding. Number 3, find a place where you can stand, right? When you're doing new business development, I want you to stand up, right? I don't want you to sit down. There's no sitting when you're prospecting, right? You content bacon people know that as well, right? I want you to walk around. Why is it important? Vera desks are a game changer. I'm too cheap to buy a standing desk. I just balance my PC on a box, right? But when you sit down, all the stress goes right to your shoulders. It's horrible, right? And you feel like, okay, this is business. And then when you're walking around, right, it's different. You're like, okay, I'm doing my steps. I'm having some fun. I'm a pacer. Right, I'll go back and forth. Sometimes I'll go right off the thing and no one will see me. And like, I like to walk around because it feels more natural. It feels more human. It feels more like you can respond more quickly. It's an actual thing, right? When you look at people sitting down, the blood flow doesn't go to your head, right? But when you are standing up, you can think quicker, right? You're a little funnier, right? At least I am. I don't know about you guys. And it's a great way of overcoming your fear. I don't know, for some reason, when you sit down, all of the bad thoughts go right to your shoulders and your head. When you're standing up, it's a little bit different. All right, then it's perfectly okay to pace or walk around. Then I want you to practice your greeting, right? Your greeting, Daniel, when I call you, I'm like, Daniel, this is Dan from HubSpot. And when I say that, Daniel, what do you think?
I think that it doesn't sound that exciting. Like when I hear someone over the phone and they're enthusiastic, that's the type of person I respond to. Like they're excited to hear from me. They have something other to say than like, hi, like I want a reason why you're calling or.
That's right. I'm going to get to that. But I want you to make sure when you're calling that your greeting is good. I want to make sure that it sounds practiced, that it sounds professional, that, Oana, do your greeting. Let me hear your greeting, Oana.
Hi, this is Oana from NNC.
I love it. All right. And she said that a million times. You're all going to practice it 100 times. That is the most important part of the call, because if it doesn't sound good, if it doesn't sound strong, if you're tentative, right, you get categorized or put in a compartment of a cold call. And that's not good for you. That's not good for the prospect. So you want to be strong. Literally, Oana will teach you to practice this hundreds of times, right? Ensuring that your greeting is good. The benefit is you're thinking after you do it like hundreds of times, ooh, I sound pretty good. That's what I'm thinking right now. Ooh, when I do my greeting, wow, I'm Dan from HubSpot. Then the next step is you're going to pause, right? And you got to practice your pause because it's hard. It's one of the hardest things they do. Loredana was showing you her lion pause, right? And that is because, I know that's a English joke, but it's true. And you don't say anything after you say your greeting. Loredana, this is Dan from HubSpot. Pause, pause, pause. Sometimes you'll pause up to 30 seconds. It's nerve-wracking when you start, but it's critically important. And then you anticipate some resistance, right? Sometimes people say, who? And I'll say, Dan from HubSpot. I'll just repeat it, right? A little bit slower. That slow pace equals confidence, right? When somebody says something and you speed it up, it shows a little bit like you're nervous, right? When you slow it down, it shows confidence. And they're like, okay. And like, why are you calling, right? And then I'm a little famous for trying to make somebody smile. So for me, I'll say, ugh, it doesn't sound like you're expecting my call. Daniel, I don't think you've ever heard me ugh, but Oana and Loredana, Alex, Content Big, they've all heard me ugh multiple times, right? And if I ugh to you, Daniel, what would you do? Would you like that? No, you wouldn't. Okay, you'd be like, oh, that's too frivolous. Okay, some people are like that, right? So you could just leave it out. It doesn't sound like you're expecting my call, right? But I'll tell you, in my experience, 99% of the people that I talk to, when I go, ugh, it doesn't sound like you were expecting my call, they have a very positive response. All right, then I'm going to use a connect call positioning statement. I'm going to say, right, Daniel, we call a channel account manager from HubSpot who are supporting their partners and looking to get more interactions in workshops. Does that sound like you? I don't start talking about my services. I start talking about you. Now, forget about the resistance line. Do you like when I start talking about you?
Yep.
Why?
Because everybody likes to hear about themselves or talk about themselves for the most part. It's just like in human nature.
Yeah,
like
there's a variety of different, 100%. A variety of different reasons. Number one, if I say, like I work with channel account managers at HubSpot in Dublin to help them with their partners get more interaction in workshops. First thing, Daniel knows that I've done my research. He's like, yeah. Okay. Second of all, he identifies with that. He's like, wow, that's a little creepy. How do you know all that stuff? Right. Number three, he's going to pause and he's going to actually think about it. It's not something where he's going to hang up the phone. Right. Number four, he might say, no, that's not me. I'm like, that's okay. I also work with senior channel account managers, right, that have been at HubSpot for a while that want to get more interactivity and close more deals over the summer months. Does that sound like you? Does that sound like you, Daniel?
Yes, it does.
Ooh. And so I'm going to have three of those positioning statements. Oana and Loredana can help you write those positioning statements. But in most cases in the sales process, when they start, it's more about, It's about them rather than you. Most people default to the services that they sell. And at that point in time, it's a waste of time, right? Because no one cares about that, right? After they say, yes, that sounds like me, I'm going to stroke my chin. Everybody stroke your chin. Come on, Alex, stroke your chin. Ooh, and you go, tell me more about that. Tell me more about that. And Oana and Loredana can teach you that as well. Tell me more about that as an open question that spurs a business conversation that helps people understand, right? And that's very, very helpful. And then you want to offer to help over time. The purpose of your call isn't to interrupt, isn't to do anything. It's offer to help. All right, those are my 10 tips. I'm going to put them in there. And then I got to jump to my next call. But thanks so much for inviting me, Daniel, Oana, Loredana. Was that what you wanted?
Yes, Dan, thanks so much for all the good advice and for your help.
Okay.
For your amazing energy, Dan. How do you do it? How can you wake up at 6 a.m. with so much energy?
I know. It's kind of annoying to some people, but it's fun for me. All right. And before I leave, I'm going to put 2 more things of free stuff. Oana has and Loredana has all access to this information. And good luck with the rest of the webinar, Daniel and Oana and Loredana. Thanks so much for inviting me. And we'll see you soon.
Okay, thanks so much, Dan. Moving on to the rest of the session, we have our colleague Monica, who has prepared for you 5 very interesting tips about how you can get the most out of HubSpot. But before that, very, very briefly, Daniel and Alex, please introduce yourselves. Daniel?
Hi, my name is Daniel Bird. I work at HubSpot as a channel account manager. Essentially, I work with HubSpot partners throughout our ecosystem. Small partners to larger partners, help scale their growth as agency partners. I also help them with their sales process in identifying new HubSpot opportunities. I've worked with NNC now about 7 months. Before HubSpot, I'd been in sales about 6 years in SaaS sales, both at ZipRecruiter.com with big enterprise brands and Indeed.com, where I work with mid-market and smaller businesses. So I have a wealth of experience in recruitment. As far as HubSpot goes, I'm relatively new, but I'm learning every day as I speak to senior channel account managers who, sure like our agency partners, new things are always coming out within HubSpot. So just continued growth and glad to be here. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Daniel, as well. And Alex, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm Alex Noir. I'm a principal channel consultant here at HubSpot. I'm sort of the second half of the team as far as Daniel is concerned. So Daniel and I work very closely with the NNC team here and several of our other HubSpot partners. My role is sort of a counterbalance here to all the sales folks. I am mostly focused on customer success, but one of the biggest things I've learned in my career is that everyone, whether they like it or not, has some part in the sales process. So a big part of, what my focus and what my passion is that, the relationship with your prospects doesn't end once the sale is over. And there's always opportunity to find more sales and more growth for your company. So I've been at HubSpot for about 3.5 years, working with our lovely partners in this expanding ecosystem. And I'm really excited to partner with the NNC team here to really focus on something that I care a lot about, which is the constant improvement and optimization of your HubSpot tools. Like Daniel mentioned, HubSpot doesn't take any days off in terms of developing the product. There's always new features coming out to try to make things better for you. So we're always here to try to make sure that what you have is the best it can be and optimized to your process and your business.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks so much, guys. Daniel and Alex are going to be with us for the entire session. If you have any questions for them, just put them into the chat window and they will address them. But let's pass the mic to our main host for today, which is my amazing colleague, Monica, who is leading our marketing automation team here at NNC. So, Monica, tell us and teach us your secret sauce.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining. I'm very happy to be here. As Oana mentioned, I lead the marketing automation team at NNC. I work here for more than 4 years. And what I love about HubSpot is that it's connected to my other passion, which is gardening. So from a very small age, I started gardening with my parents, and what I saw is that what you create today, what you work today will bring you some benefits later. And that's the same in HubSpot and in marketing in general. What you're setting up right now with your plan, with your activities, will bring you the results in the future. And that's also relevant in the context of what Daniel mentioned at the beginning about having a process. Marketing is a process, gardening is a process, almost everything can be turned into a process. And today I want to discuss with you about a few processes that can be implemented in HubSpot and can make your marketing and sales life easier and basically optimizing everything that you have in HubSpot. But first, let's see what type of license do you have at the moment, or if you have any license in HubSpot. Marketing Hub, Pro Suite, that's great. Sales Pro, Marketing Pro, Full Enterprise. Marketing Pro, perfect. Thank you everyone for sharing this on the chat. I want to mention from the start that actually most of the elements that I'm going to share with you today and all the tips are available in the Marketing Pro license. Only one of them is available in the sales package. Please try to mute yourself if you're not speaking. Thank you. We'll do like an exercise of what can be done and how you can use these tools in your daily life. And after this workshop, I really encourage you to go into your HubSpot portal and try this out. These are great, and I hope you'll enjoy them. So moving to the next section, these are the 5 tips that I want to cover today. We will discuss about lead scoring workflows that can be applied to multiple types of objects, but we will focus on the context part and on the deals part, the target account, and something about using different assets into your nurturing flow and how to integrate this into the HubSpot inbound methodology. So let's start with the first one. How to use lead scoring. Lead scoring is a very nice tool from HubSpot. I love it. And once I found out about it, I started suggesting to all of my clients to use it also. It's a process of basically assigning a score to a specific property and to contact. And depending on if the contact has that property or not, they can receive a score. And at the end of the day, this entire sum of scoring, individual scoring, will indicate you if a contact is ready to move forward in the sales cycle, or maybe move it from marketing to sales, and so on. This is not very complicated. You just need to do a bit of internal discussion and see exactly what the sales team says, what the marketing team says. So it's basically something you need to do as a workshop also internally. And the first step would be to identify exactly what determines a customer into a conversion. So what was that point in the cycle that determined the contact to convert? Was it a form submission? Was it a page that they saw? Was it an ad that you launched on AdWords or Facebook or whatever platform you're using? These kind of items can be used in the lead scoring area and can indicate you if a contact is ready to move to the next stage or another. Of course, you can examine everything and you can try to test also. Testing is also a great thing to do in HubSpot. And of course, you need to do some comparisons and reporting at the end of your testing phase. Let's see exactly what kind of information you can use in the lead scoring part. So most of the, I think all the information you have in your database in HubSpot can be used as a lead scoring trigger, even as positive or either as negative attribute. So you can have insights that you collect automatically in HubSpot, for example, the creation date, or I don't know, the when they turned into a subscriber. Then you can have demographic information, things that match your target audience, information about the business, and as mentioned, anything that you have in your database from HubSpot, and this all can be used as lead scoring criteria. And how do we do that? I'd like to do some kind of a quick test with you. I've created here a series of positive attributes and negative attributes so you can have a clearer view on this item. So on the positive attributes, as I mentioned, here are the main indicators that you can have in your database about the contact. And these are basically telling you that people want something more or are ready to move to another stage, or you need to intervene in some kind of way to make this contact turn into a lead and then into a customer. This is let's say it's not something that is done overnight, but this process can help you nurture faster and better. So for example, I've included here a form submission, which will receive 20 points, then a page view that will receive 5 points, an email open, email click, and so on. These are basically the last bullet point that I've included. These are business-related information that's only applied to you. For example, if the industry is ITC, for example, and that's what you target mostly, that's something that you can definitely use in the lead scoring area as a positive attribute. In the other side, with negative attributes, I've included again some generally applied versions, which is the unsubscription. This is basically indicating that contact is no longer interested in our information, services, anything that we can offer in the digital space. Then email bounce, and then potential information about the customer that are totally outside of your target persona. So as mentioned, if you know for sure that your target audience is part of a specific series of industries and you don't want to have other industries in your portfolio, you can use this to do some kind of a cleanup automatically. Now I'm going to show you a bit how this is set up exactly in HubSpot. Let me close this one and drag another file. So I'm here in one of my HubSpot portals, and I'm exactly in the properties area. The lead scoring is a property on the contact side, so you can find it very easily by searching for HubSpot score. And here, once you click it, you can see the positive and negative attributes in a similar way as I had them in the slide. And the setup is very simple. I'm going to do a quick test. For example, let's say that I'm interested in a form submission and I want to only check the contact form, which is the most important form on any website. And I apply it. And this will receive a score of 20 points as mentioned. So any contact that will fill the contact form will receive 20 points. After that, I can add another criteria. Let's say that I want to check a marketing email that I've shared with them. So not this one, let's say a follow-up. If they clicked something that I've included in that email, again, they can receive 5 points. And this process can go on and on until you finish your list. you have 100 criteria available in this part, and most of the times, even in the most complicated portals, I didn't reach this limit. So you're safe. You will have enough space to include everything. In the other side, on the negative part, we can do a similar test, but you see from the start that the numbers are with minus here, meaning that everything will be this point will be excluded from the initial sum created from the first list. So let's say that the email subscription has opted out from the marketing information, and let's include that with 30 points. Okay, so once I save this, all the contacts will be checked automatically, and they will receive these points into their contact records. So let me include some more, maybe something with something email. No, email is known by, and let's put it with 5 points. Okay, so let's say that we finished with the context and everything with the attribute. How do we check if it's working? We can go into the contact area, and of course we can apply a very simple filter, which again is using the main property, and click it on is known. And you can see that all my contacts have at least something assigned. Let me check. Yeah. So here is the actual score. Okay. Why is this important to have in your portal? So as I was saying, these numbers are summed up, and depending on how much a contact has in their record, you can see exactly when they are in their stage, in their conversion stage, let's say. Are they ready to move? Can we intervene and maybe try to set up a call with them, and so on? And what I do in most of the cases is to build some kind of automations around lead scoring. So for example, if the lead score is around 40 points, I can assign a task to my team, to my sales team, to try to reach out to these contacts. And in this way, I'm sure that these contacts are being worked when they are still hot. I'm not letting them to cool down and maybe lose interest into my services. I'm intervening when they are the interest is the biggest. So that's something, as mentioned, that I love about Hubspot, and I'm using. For those that have Hubspot, are you using this this feature? Excellent. Happy to see that. Great. Continue to do that. And of course, this is something that you need to constantly update, because sometimes your objectives change, your business may change even, and this lead scoring part needs constant updates. Maybe you do some tests, and then you decide to exclude some criteria and so on. So make sure that you constantly update it, and I'm sure you will see some at least a few benefits, at least a few contacts will be included in the flow, but of course you need to wait a bit until you see the results. Similar to growing a plant, again, trying to apply my hobbies into my daily work, and that's why I mentioned about it. So be patient. Once you set this up, be patient, and you will see the results. Let's move to the next topic, which is related to automating your daily activities. We are all very busy. We are all overwhelmed sometimes, maybe with new tasks, new and old tasks. And of course, we need a way to keep on track with everything that's going on. For marketing and sales, especially, this is a very hard process to cover. We have, of course, fortunately the workflows area in Hubspot that can help us, and I encourage you again to use them, even for small things, not necessarily for creating very complex workflows with emailing campaign. Do some workflows also for your own help. I mean, set up some triggers to create automatic tests and so on. And that's what I'm going to, and we will do a test also in this workshop. So a quick intro, the workflows are basically a series of actions that will be triggered depending on a specific criteria. Again, in this part, we will have the enrollment part, which is basically, it can be one item from the context, deals, objects, and so on, any objects you can use in this workflows area as a trigger, or you can have categories of triggers. And we will see a bit later how this works. As mentioned, the workflows can be created based on all of the objects you have available in HubSpot, but of course, some of them may not be available to all of you since they are part of specific licenses. So here is, for example, a quick table that shows you exactly what type of access and exactly what type of workflow you can build depending on the license you have. Now, we will focus on the contact one because this is what we marketers do most of the time. We try to nurture contacts and then send them to the sales team. And here's the workflow that I'd like to build with you today. I have it done already. So since the time is not in our advantage, I'm going to only show you what I did here and how you can do it yourself also. So this main part is the enrollment trigger. And this is where you define what contacts will be enrolled in this workflow and when, of course, you can also include when this will be enrolled. For this case, for this example, I've decided to create 3 different groups. So my contacts can have any of these properties in their records in order for them to enroll. I've selected the list membership, which is the easiest one, and you can start, if you're a beginner, you can start with this one. Then I've decided to also include something related to the contact owner, and of course, something that's industry related. These are randomly selected, so I would say that this is not the best combination, let's say, but in your case, if you have different items that fit the same profile, so basically, if people from industry A, B, and C needs to receive a specific email, and also people from a specific list, you can include them all here. After that, what's going on with these contacts? Let's say that I want to send them an invitation to a workshop. And I know for sure that contacts assigned to Oana, Loredana, and myself would be the most interested in this workshop. After that, I also know that this workshop is related to this industry, and of course, they're part of this list. I'm sending them the invitation, and depending on what they do on this initial email, after 2 days, I can decide to continue my workflow with another message. In this case, for example, I've created an if-then branch that separates the flow into 2 parts. One for those that clicked the link, the invitation link, but didn't submit the registration form, and those that only opened my email. So they only saw the message, skipped a bit, and then closed the email. I want to try to engage more with them. And that's why for those that didn't click, didn't register, I'm sending them a reminder saying that, hey, we have only 5 days left for you to register. Please do it today, or something like that. Insert something related to urgency, and in this way, those that are really interested will register. For those that only open my message, I can send them additional information. Maybe in my first message, I only mentioned that, hey, we're organizing a webinar, workshop. Please join if you'd like to learn more. But in my second message, I can also include something related to the speaker. Hey, this is Monica, will be your speaker. She's a specialist in Hubspot. She will teach you. She has been working with X, Y, and Z companies. And that's, again, something you can use to try to make them register to your webinar. After they open, I can set up another delay similar to the first one. And again, if they clicked on the registration link but didn't submit the form, again, I'm sending them the same reminder with there are a few more days for you to register. So that's a simple process that you can set up from the start, and it will work automatically. You do it today, and it will work for the next 2-3 weeks until you finish your promotion and host your webinar. Of course, you will have some cases in which none of these branches will be met. And in this case, you will have a third branch with none met, which is created automatically when using this option. And you can either decide to add this contact to a list and say something like maybe unengaged contacts or people that needs to be worked, or try to engage with them in other ways. And of course, I've also included here a task for the team, for myself, to try to build a new campaign in which I can try to re-engage this contact, see, maybe investigate a bit this contact and see what went wrong, and try to re-engage them into my communication. Do you have any questions here?
Feel free to use the chat window, or if you want, you can just come off mute. We'd like to hear you guys.
Okay, no questions so far. So I will continue with the next topic we have for today, which is integrating different assets into the nurturing flow. This is basically very important for you. It's part of the entire inbound concept and Hubspot concept. And if you're having Hubspot, I hope you're mapping all your assets in this way, because it's extremely important. So basically, in Hubspot, there is a very simple methodology, which is awareness, consideration, and decision. These are the stages, and a contact is transferred from one stage to another into their process, into their conversion process. Let's say it's basically the buyer journey. This one, and it starts, of course, with your buyer persona, which I had on my last slide, but I want to focus more on this step. And having this in mind each time you create a buyer journey and basically organize your assets and plan your marketing activities is extremely important. Depending on these stages, you can decide to do something more or exclude something from the plan if it's not relevant to the audience, and so on. And it's very simple. As you see here on the slide, in the first stage, people are researching for information. They know they have a problem, but they are not sure about it. Then in the consideration stage, they found some information. They are aware of this problem, and they are trying to find a solution. And of course, in the decision stage is when the persona, your audience is trying to find the perfect solution. They are doing some comparisons about different vendors, and they are basically in that phase when anything is important, and any information, any relevant information about features, benefits, they are extremely relevant, and you can definitely use them to move them to the customer phase, let's say. And when I was saying in the in my initial slide how to map your assets, it's basically how to organize your content, even the existing content, in a way in which it can convert more for you and make your entire process better. This part is very easily doable with workflows, campaigns. These are two tools that I again love about HubSpot. They can help you organize and integrate everything that you have. And let's not forget about the reporting phase. This is also something you can definitely use to see if your journey and if the mapping that you created is working or not. So what type of content you can use depending on the stage people are in at a specific moment. You can use in the first stage free stuff. You saw that then at the beginning of the session, he mentioned about free stuff. We love free stuff, and that's why these are very effective in trying to start a relationship with a contact. And that's basically the first phase. If you provide something free and that material is also relevant for the contact, you reached your goal, at least in the first phase, because people will start trusting you, and when they are ready for the next phase, they will come to you for additional information, of course. In this phase, we have the webinars, case studies, things that discuss about exactly about how you do it, how you did it in the past for other companies, samples, maybe fact sheets, catalogs, things that provide even more information. If in the first phase we were only sending them things that are informative, not extremely technical, maybe in some cases, in this phase we can start inserting more technical information, so people see the value behind these features. And of course, in the decision phase, we have the next set of activities and a set you can integrate into your flow, and we have the demos, the trials, things that will help people decide if you're a good fit for them. And if it's not a good fit, don't be sad. It's an experience for every buyer, and it's also an experience for you. If someone reaches the trial phase, maybe you offer them a trial, but they are not a good fit, don't be sad. It's something that you've learned, and maybe the next time you encounter a similar situation, you know from the start how to set expectation, and maybe not necessarily exclude that contact from the nurturing phase, but maybe be more careful and try a different approach. So at the moment, are you using this methodology into your current business and marketing and sales activities? Daniel, I'm sure you're using it. Okay, as a closing note for this this section in the workshop, as mentioned, this is a part, let's say a theoretical part in the workshop, but everything here can be mapped with different features from HubSpot, and I only mentioned two, the workflows and the campaigns. But of course, you have the emailing and the landing pages part that will help you build these assets and put them online. And then integration is key. Try to integrate them with them into campaigns, compare results, see what's been working and what wasn't very effective for you, and optimize continuously. And of course, something that I also do a lot in HubSpot is testing. If something is not okay, I'm testing another approach, maybe for a few weeks, and then if it's not okay, I'm testing a third approach, and so on. Just do this on, and you'll find the right way for you.
Mm-hmm. I actually have one question here for either, Alex or Daniel at HubSpot. I know you have visibility to many of HubSpot's customers and partners. Can you share with us maybe what works best lately in terms of, content to be included in the flows? What insights can you give us?
Something I'll add in that is that content in a lot of cases, particularly when businesses are trying to figure out where to get started, or maybe they don't have all of their content mapped out for these different stages yet, and it can be kind of daunting task, particularly for companies where people are wearing a lot of hats, they're doing different jobs, they don't have a ton of time to just always be making content. One of my biggest pieces of advice is that oftentimes quality is more important than quantity. If you are mapping out these stages, we want to make sure that we at least have some piece of content to help guide our prospects through this journey for each stage. Start with something that really makes a difference, right? And so rather than just trying to write blogs all day long just for the sake of writing blogs, think about what's really valuable content to your target audience. And so, Monica did a great job of sort of outlining there are a lot of different types of content that we can put out there. It doesn't all just have to be the same ebook that everyone else, all your other competitors are doing the same thing. Think about putting yourself in the customer's shoes. What do they actually need? What would actually help them? And if we focus on helping them by actually making something that's valuable, that's where you get the most impact. Obviously, then over time, you want to continue to expand, fill in the gaps, add more content, because more can be better. We want to add more chapters to the book, but starting with real quality first, I think, is the most important thing. And always having the buyer persona at the center of what you're doing is a great way to go.
And I'll kind of piggyback on that with regards to understanding the buyer persona, really understanding who your target market is and making sure the content is relevant to them. But I think also, to Alex's point on like doing the same thing that everyone else is doing, I think it's important when you're putting out content to think outside the box, whether it be, outside of a case study, or for an example, I had a partner that put out something for, like a CEO's guide to remote work, because that is so important. So not only thinking about maybe their job, but also, what's going on in the world, right? We're just getting through a pandemic, their political issues, whatever it may be. Obviously, politics isn't a great example, but in terms of like a pandemic, that's a great, thing to kind of help people through when, lives are changing and things like that. So I think it's important to think outside the box to really differentiate yourself while also understanding who you're presenting this content to.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you guys. So I like this advice. I always use it myself. Always think with your customer in mind, or be in your customer's shoes. Whenever you are in doubt about what you need to do or what you think provides value, just think about your buyer persona.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, as a last note here, you don't need to use the exact examples that I have included in the slides. You can use anything that is relevant for your business and for your audience. So let's say that you're selling shoes. You don't need to create a white paper about shoes. You can create a list of measurements or how to identify the perfect pair of shoes for your audience. So that's totally up to you and how you do business and what's your target audience. But of course, following this process will help you offer what they need, and then they will offer you what you need, basically turn into sales for you. let's move to the next part in this workshop, which is related to the account-based marketing. I'm sure that you know that account-based marketing is a very strategic approach, and thank you, Hubspot, for introducing this new feature last year for us all. Hubspot is now helping you track all the target accounts. So basically, any company that you'd like to add to your portfolio, and if you're doing continuous work into trying to nurture these contacts and companies, you can track everything in HubSpot. There's a separate area in HubSpot that will give you this kind of information. I've included here in my slides a few images, and we'll show you exactly how you can access it and so on. But first, how do you identify the target accounts? HubSpot also thought about that, and you also have some tools inserted into your portal. Once you've activated the tool and you have access to it, you can try to add a new target accounts. And you can define that based on different items. I've included here 5 of the most used items that I use for other clients. So basically, I can see exactly what companies visit my website, and depending on that, I can turn them into target accounts and also try to turn them into customers. Of course, that's the end goal in this strategy. I can also add current deals from my pipeline if I see that this is a very important account. This is something that I really want to have into my company as a client. Definitely do that and try to track more details about them. Based on historical data, again, this is based on what you've done previously. If an older deal that you have is an older deal maybe okay for reactivation? If yes, then you can add this deal to your target account and restart the communication, basically. Of course, based on the logo, as mentioned, if there's a company on the market that you really want to have as a client, you use this tool. And as mentioned along the way in this workshop, your buyer persona. If you know exactly that specific companies meet your target persona, add them to the portal. And here is how the tool is looking like. I'm going to also open it into my, can you see the HubSpot screen? Yeah, okay, perfect, good. So this is basically under the context part, and as you can see, this is a demo portal, so I don't have so many information, but this is the main panel. Here is where you see exactly how many target accounts you have, how many are in your pipeline, in your sales pipeline. The value will be constantly updated based on the information you've included into the system, and of course other elements. And once you click on each, you'll be able to see different information. Let me show you on the slides again. So this is, for example, an overview for target account. You see exactly the number of pages they've seen, the number of contacts created from this company, the number of emails exchanged, meetings, logged calls, and so on. And once you scroll down a bit into the account, you will see even more information about the pages they visited. If there was a page, a very important page they saw, let's say 10 times, that's clear that they need that type of service and not another one. So you can try to adjust your speech in the conversation in order for you to be more successful in your activities. Something that I love very much in this panel is the buying role. This is basically where you can select the specific role a contact has in a company. If it's a decision maker, if it's a blocker, if it's only a marketing person, and so on. And depending on this buying role, you can again adjust your activities and your speech and be, let's say, more careful and try to anticipate specific objections. If it's a blocker, you'll know from the start that this person will constantly bring you issues on your table, and you can try to prepare some potential answers for this kind of challenges. I'm going to move a bit to the reporting part. That's also something excellent in HubSpot. Thank you, HubSpot, for creating all these predefined dashboards and reports. These are part of the reports library. You know that in HubSpot we have a lot of predefined reports, so we don't have to work and create them. They are already created. We just need to click and add them to our dashboards. This kind of reports can be created based on your target accounts. This is the number of contacts created, target accounts. Then this is another report that I decided to include. If these target accounts are part of your sales pipeline, you can also see what's the stage of this account. And you see, for example, in this report that most of them are in closed won, which means that this approach is working. If you're doing it in your company, you should see some results in a few months. Also, you can see here what are the companies that visited the most your website. Of course, I've excluded a few details from this report, but you can get the point. In the bottom part, you would have seen the company names, but I can share that. But this is how you see the information. And of course, depending on this kind of numbers, you can decide what to focus on the most. Another set of reports that I like in HubSpot is the number of associated contacts into a company. So basically, depending on the number of contacts you have from a company, you can understand how much effort you need to put into this deal in order to make it a customer. In this kind of situation where we have a lot of contacts, it means that there will be a lot of people involved into the decision process. And here is where you can decide, of course, to add a new team member to help you with the process, maybe send them some additional information, or maybe try to find that one person that will make the final decision, and you can discuss only with that person. And of course, we also have an annual revenue report. Again, this can help you identify exactly what you should focus on. If their annual revenue is bigger, of course, you can focus on them, but don't forget about those that do not bring so much money, but they might be key accounts for your business in the future. So the revenue part is important, but let's also be human, because some small companies today can be the unicorns of tomorrow. So yeah, try to not ignore these small companies. Now, let me show you a bit how to add a new target account into your portal. So if you don't have this option activated, the process is very simple. You just go to the target account and do a few clicks here and there, and that's it. And after that, you'll be able to have the same view as mine. And now, when you're ready to add a new target account to your portal, you have a few options here. I can go to recommendations, and here I have a list of companies recommended by HubSpot depending on my information, on the information you already have in the database. And let's say that I'm adding this company. Okay, you saw it's extremely simple. I can choose from here as well. This is the library of companies that I have into the system. So I can decide to add from here as well. Let's say Barnes. And the third option, that again is something that I constantly check in HubSpot, and I have some notifications as well. Okay, it's not working. I'm going to open a new account so I can show you. That option is basically where you can see what companies visited your website. You won't see exactly what people visited, but depending on the number of visits and other information, other relevant information that are available there, you can decide to add a company to your target account or not. So this is, for example, into an active portal. This is where you can find all the companies that visited your website. And for example, if I'm interested in a specific company here, of course, I can decide to preview them and add them to my company list. And once I do that, I will be able to also to add it also as a target account. Do you have any questions for this area?
One example that I like to use, Monica, before people decide what to ask is that, for example, in our B2B Academy coaching sessions, when we get to the targeted account section, I'm always like, when CIA decides to get someone and put them on the top targeted list, the chances of finding that person increase 400 times, okay? So imagine what that means if you get someone and put them on your targeted list, people. So they're like a surefire, right? They will be a customer. And what I love about HubSpot is that you have a tool that not only you can track basically who are your targeted accounts, but an actual process, coming back to the beginning, an actual process of how to go after this targeted accounts. So thanks for pointing that out, Monica. It's a great find.
Maybe also Alex and Daniel, can you also share some of the main, benefits you saw customers who started using the ABM feature received?
Yeah, I think for me, and Monica did a great job of sort of showing a lot of the reporting aspects of this. I mean, I think about it in terms of the importance of visibility, right? When companies are deciding to take on an account-based marketing approach, you're putting a lot of investment in a small number of possible customers, right? And if you're going to put a lot of time and attention and man hours and resources into pursuing that, you want real visibility on how that's going, right? And so having the ability to have that reporting sort of across the board, across your target accounts, but also really being able to drill down in each account and say, like, what's happening today? What happened this week? Who's looking at the website? Where are my buying roles and what are they doing? And what are my next steps? I think it's really helpful because when we introduced that tool, we didn't really bring anything that was radically new or different in terms of like a whole new set of features in HubSpot. The biggest change was that it just brought a centralized place to really get proper visibility into your collective actions. So for me, the biggest thing is, just having peace of mind, but also allowing you to really decide what's going to be impactful and what to do next based on just having all of the important data in one place.
I couldn't agree more with Alex with regards to just having all that data available in one place and really being narrowly focused in on that in the reporting. So I agree with everything Alex said there. I think that's the biggest takeaway for me is really the, having all that data in one, being able to just stay narrowly focused within those target accounts. So I definitely agree.
Thank you everyone for sharing your opinion. I also like that everything is integrated. Before this option, we would have all the marketing information into Hubspot, and then the account-based related information, they were maybe in a spreadsheet or I don't know, in some kind of documents lost in space. But now everything is centralized, and that's excellent. The reporting is definitely improved as well. So yeah, you did a great job with this new feature. Okay. The last point that I would like to cover into this workshop is related to the sales process. As I was mentioning at the beginning, we will move a bit from marketing to the sales part, because once you turn a contact into a deal, it's time for you to also optimize a bit this process. And in this case as well, we can use the workflows. And I've decided to go with workflows because this option is available for all the users. We have another feature, which is sequences that can also be used to optimize your sales activities, but that's only available for sales. We can discuss, of course, into another workshop about this as well. But let's see a bit about the deal-based workflows. These are great. They work in a similar way as the ones in the contacts area. And we can do a quick test so I can show exactly how they work and how you can use them. I've built 2 examples already. One a bit simple and the other one a bit more complex, so you can see what can be done in this kind of workflows. So in this case, I've imagined that I want to only target the deals that were created from existing businesses. So I was thinking about the upselling opportunities for the current customers, and I want to segment that based on the deal owner. In this case, Oana was the winner, so congrats, Oana. You're in this workflow. And why am I doing that? It's important, as you know, to try to keep a great relationship with the current customers, and that's because they are our customers and they receive our support and so on, but they can also become our ambassadors. So they can refer us to their friends. Maybe when they go out to dinner with other business owners, they can say, hey, I've been working with NNC and they did an excellent job. That's why we need to pay a very closer attention to the existing customers, not only to the new ones, and try to nurture this upselling process as well. So in this case, what I wanted to do is to create a priority list. And based on these 2 properties, I've decided to label this property as high priority, which this property will be visible to my sales team, and they will know exactly what to focus on, let's say the next day or in a specific week. It's a critical account they need to take care of this week. And after that, I also decided to send an internal email notification to Oana in this case, so they can get back to this customer and provide more details. And what I did, for example, in this message was to also include some relevant information. These are personalization tokens available also in these internal messages. So she has from the start all the information in one email. This email will be sent to her inbox, and she will know from the start, hey, this is the deal I need to work on. This is the deal description. This is the total contract value, and so on. Based on this initial information, she can go in Hubspot and do her job, continue her job, because she's also the one who created that deal. But that's basically working as a kind reminder, as an internal kind reminder that you can set, so people know exactly what to do next into the sales process. The second example that I've set, as mentioned, that's a bit more complex, and it takes into account the deal stage. Again, I wanted to focus only on one deal owner. So for example, each deal owner can have this kind of workflow set up for them, and they can receive specific notifications. In this case, what I'm trying to achieve is basically I want to help Oana keep on track with everything, and I don't know, send her different reminders so she can take care of different maybe information related to a deal, or fill in some blank spaces in the contact area, and so on. And that's a simple branch that I've included here. And based on this, we have, as you can see, a separate branch for each deal stage. If the presentation was scheduled, I'm sending a reminder to Oana to prepare for the call. So she will know that she needs, let's say, an hour before the call to do some research and put her up to date with all the information about this potential customer. Then if the appointment was scheduled, I'm sending her a test so she can send maybe the company presentation, introduce a new team member if that's needed, and also send the actual invitation link and calendar invite. That's a simple task. Let's move to the next one. If the contract was sent, I'm sending Oana a reminder so she can follow up if the contract wasn't signed in 3 days. That's extremely important. You shouldn't leave a deal sit in a stage for a long time if you know that they are active and they don't have, I don't know, a vacation. If you know that they have a vacation, that's normal for them to delay a bit the response. But in other cases, you should follow up and try to get a response from them as soon as possible. If the contract was accepted and everything is fine, then Oana needs to start the operational, let's say, process, create a new project, and I've included here a few notes, maybe introduce the project manager, create a project plan with the team, set up the kickoff call, and so on. This is, again, a simple process based on the deal stage, but it's important. I'm sure that this kind of notifications and reminders will help your team keep on track and follow the same process each time, because that's the idea, to follow the same process and be consistent in your work. And if that's covered, everything will be also optimized internally. And I also took into account the situation when a deal wasn't closed and it was lost. And in this case, Oana needs to find out why this wasn't a happy situation. And of course, this information will help us in the future optimize again our flow and change something. Maybe something went wrong and we didn't realize. That's the moment when we can debrief a bit the entire process for a specific contact and see exactly what went wrong. So we learn from our experiences and do better next time. A lot of more options can be implemented here. I'm going to click on something so you see exactly what are the available options for the deals area. Again, the process is similar to the context part with a few exceptions, but anything is possible, and I really encourage you to start using them to optimize your work and be more efficient. Basically, that's what HubSpot tries to do every day with us, the users, and that's why a lot of new features are in the pipeline. Okay, so I think I finished with this fifth point. We're now open for questions. If any of you wants to ask something, not necessarily related to what we presented today, but HubSpot related, please feel free to join the conversation.
I guess you were really specific and You kind of covered all the topics, Monica, so you were quite clear. I'm sure you at least generated some thinking and thoughts out there. So looking forward to hear from all of you soon. We'll stay in touch. You will get a recording for this if you want to review anything. I will just put my email address here. Feel free to reach out to me if you need more information. Thank you so much, Monica, for all the great advice. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Daniel, for joining us from HubSpot. Thank you to everybody in the audience. Have a cool summer. Enjoy your vacation. I know most of you are waiting for it still. So, and we'll stay in touch.